由衷，言不由衷。当唯美的祝福都不能投向爱的善变，有始有终，只能有始有终。容我为我们写一篇祷文，愿你永远安康，愿你永远懂得飞翔，愿你真的爱一个人，某个人，那个人，而懂温暖来自何方。我如此坚强，愿我永远善良，愿我真爱上一个人，某个人，那个人，只不慌不忙，是心之所向。不知轻重，不知轻重，那是虔诚如我，也不能神化人的懦弱，爱的初衷，不念爱的初衷，不变的还是我对爱的愚用。愿你永远安康，愿你永远懂得飞翔，愿你真的爱一个人，某个人，那个人，而懂温暖来自何方。我如此坚强，愿我永远善良，愿我真爱上一个人，某个人，那个人，是不慌不忙，是心之所向。愿你永远安康，愿你永远懂得飞翔，愿你真的爱一个人，某个人，那个人，而懂温暖来自何方。我如此坚强，愿我永远善良，愿我真爱上一个人，某个人，那个人，是不慌不忙，是心之所向。愿失去的爱能原谅我们。
假装没把对方看在眼里，知道你也在意我，整夜都无法闭上眼睛，想象我们一起演的电影会有多美的结局。打听你的消息，走在你会出现的街景，当时我的好奇让我们在人群中靠近，爱上你是生命中最容易的决定，怎么可能就走到了最难的选择题？
中添咖啡冷却，嘴角不经意泄露香烟，在发呆的窗前凝结。其实不爱漫漫长夜，因为你才多了情节。可是蜷缩的回忆不热烈，我如何把孤单溶解？你看啊，春日的蝴蝶，你看它颤抖着飞跃，和风与暖阳倾斜，却冰冷的季节。你看啊，仲夏的弯月，你看它把欢愉都结，倒挂惦记的笑靥。故事里的最后一页，过往和光阴都重叠。我用尽所有字眼去描写，无法留你片刻停歇。你听啊，秋末的落叶，你听它叹息着离别，只剩我独自领略海与山，风和月。你听啊，冬至的白雪，你听它淹水着哽咽，在没有你的世界。你听啊，秋末的落叶，你听它叹息着离别，只剩我独自领略海与山，风和月。你听啊，冬至的白雪，你听它淹水着哽咽，在没有你的世界，在没有你的冬眠。
没有了联络，后来的生活，我倒是听别人说，说你怎么了，说你怎么过，放不下的人是我。人多的时候就待在角落，就怕别人问起我。你们怎么了？你低着头护着我，连抱怨都没有。跟我开始躲，从不对我说不喜欢一个人生活。离开我以后要我好好过，跑到绕向自由的我。到这个时候你还在意着别人是怎么看我的， 拼命解释这不是我的错，是你要走。眼看着你难过，挽留的话却没有说，也会微笑放手，说还不如让我走。开始多，从不对我说，不习惯一个人生活。离开我以后，要我好好过，怕打扰想自由的我。到这个时候，你还在意着别人是怎么看我的？拼命解释这不是我的错，是你要走。
Okay, good evening. Right, so today we are on lecture number 8. So what we did was we looked at strategic position, or rather strategic choice. So under strategic choice, there are 3 different strategies. Okay, first one is the corporate level strategy, or we can just call it corporate strategy. So under this corporate strategy, there are 3 branches. Number 1 is looking at product market diversity. And product market diversity, besides that, you look at internationalization and globalization. And lastly, we do a portfolio analysis. Right, so 3 different areas. For product market diversity, you look at unrelated diversification and related diversification. So when you look at related diversification, what happens is we can break it down into 2. One is vertical integration followed by horizontal integration. So if we look at vertical integration, it looks like market diversity. Market diversity, because when you do vertical integration, you can either do a backward integration. This is going into supplier related market, or we can also look at a forward integration. This forward integration is looking at customer related markets. If you're doing horizontal integration, it looks more like product diversity. Because why? For each product, you are going to have a complement. A complement means a product that can be used together, A and B. The second thing that we can have is a competitive product. This competitive product would mean you can either use A or B. Then, as a result of a process, you may also have byproducts. Right. So all that we have already done. We have looked at the case of MMI, and then we have already gone through these different levels of diversification. The next one is internationalization. Why? Basically because of benefits. So we looked at Home's 5 C's. Right. Then we wanted to find out how to go international. So for that we looked at Perlmutter, using ethnocentric and regiocentric as the main method of going international. Portfolio analysis. Alright, we looked at BCG. That will be used to examine the portfolio of a corporate parent. And its BUs. What are BUs? BUs are business units. And then after that we have another portfolio analysis, but this is not for private sector. This is called the public sector matrix. Okay. So what I did last week is I gave you a question, right? Stewart Rome group, and then we have already done the BCG analysis for this. So what we can do is go and look at the question. Okay, go and look at the question. So we are looking at question 1, part 1. All right. Did we go through the case? Did we read the case? Yes, huh? Okay, so that makes it very much easier. Right, so since we have gone through the case, we will just go and look at this question. Evaluate the current performance and contribution and assess their relative significance in future. Right, to evaluate the current performance of each of the 3 current and assess their relative significance in its future strategy. Okay, so let's go down to that then. So after looking at this, we can go for this SRG, Steward Rome Group, right, to assess contribution and performance and current performance of the 3 current business units. Of the 3 current business units. Okay. So let's assess. SRG means the Steward Rome Group. Huh? So the first business unit that we have is SRRT. What is SRRT? Steward Road Transport. So what do we know about Steward Rome Road Transport? This was actually founded in 1955 and is the pillar of Steward Rome Group. Steward Rome Group. That is what I called SRG in the beginning. Okay. That is what I called SRG, the Steward Rome Group. That is what I call SRG in the beginning, right? Now, this is a very successful business unit. This is a very successful business unit in the SRG. Now, why do we call this to be the most successful business unit? For the following reasons. Number 1, it is the largest transport company, road transport company, if I can add that. The largest road transport company in Milan. Right, besides being the largest road transport company in Milan, it also holds all the major haulage contract. It also holds all the major haulage contract of supermarkets in Milan. It holds the largest thing right now. Okay. Now it has a fleet of 2,000 trucks. It has a fleet of 2,000 trucks to span across Milan. Okay. Now when you look at the performance of the company, right, the company is said to be the market leader. The company is said to be the market leader with a market share of 28% in 2013, despite a declining market growth. The current market growth in 2013 is just 2.5%. Is just 2.5%. Okay. Right. In terms of BCG classification, this business unit represents a cash cow. Represents a cash cow. The objective of the company states that any acquisition must benefit SRRT as well as benefit from SRRT. Okay, they have to benefit against one another. It is also one of the most recognizable brand. It is one of the most recognizable brand in Milan. It is one of the most recognizable brand in Milan and has become a household name that reflects the awareness of SRRT among the people of Milan. Has become a household name that reflects the awareness of people, right or not? Okay. Now it is also able to differentiate its services. It is also able to differentiate its services by introducing the integrated transport and storage solution. Transport and storage solution that is demanded, that is in demand with SRRT customers with the acquisition of SRW. So they are able to differentiate, right? So there are many advantages that we have in this company currently. The next thing what we want to look at is, if this is the advantage, okay, so they have 2,000 trucks and so forth, right or not, okay? What happens to the future of SRRT going forward, right? So this is to assess the contribution and current performance, okay? Then the next one will be to look at the future. All right, so let's put here, okay? The future significance of business units in SRG. So this again will be number 1. So here we are looking at whose future? We are looking at the future of SRRT in SRG. So what do we think about the future of SRRT in SRG? Right? It will still, SRRT will still remain as the main mode of transport. Will still remain as the main mode of transport for haulage of food and drinks in Milan to the supermarkets. Now, why do we say this? As only road transport can provide door-to-door service. Door-to-door services. We are looking at SRG, Steward Rome Group Company, right, which I gave as assignment in the last lesson. Right, page 114, question 1, part 1. We are now in the analysis of the first business unit, that is SRRT. Okay. Yes, only road transport can provide door-to-door services and not any other mode such as trains or SRR. What is SRR? Steward Rome Rail. Okay. Currently, this is also a cost-effective measure, as there are no toll roads in Neeland. As there are no toll roads in Neeland, right? And this should encourage road transport. Realizing the potential of SRRT, the business unit renews its trucks every 3 years to improve reliability and also to project a modern image. Right? But that doesn't mean there are no problems, right? There are some constraints that are emerging. What are the constraints that are emerging? Concern on pollution and congestion will become a challenge to SRRT. This is because governments worldwide are taking actions to reduce carbon emission, as well as to protect the environment. It cannot be discounted that the government of Neeland will not follow suit. Okay. We cannot say the government of Neeland will not do it in the future. We do not know. Okay. As such, SRRT should identify trucks that have low carbon emission or operate on other sustainable fuels. And not rely on fossil fuels. That are not renewable. But having said, all in all, it is likely that SRRT will continue in the SRG portfolio despite being less profitable than other business units. Then the other business unit, such as SRW. So if you look at a table, SRW is actually more profitable, isn't it? Right or not? Okay. Right. So once you have done that, then you go and do the second one. What is the second one now? We take this title and we put it here. So this is to assess the second business unit. And what is the second business unit? SRW, or Stewart Row Warehouses. Stewart Row Warehouse. Now, what is Stewart Row Warehouse? Was formed by acquiring warehouses from business that was divesting this part of the operation. So when the bigger companies were divesting, you went and bought it. Okay, this part of their operation. Okay, and was operating as SRW since 2010. Okay, since 2010. Now, what was the main intention that we bought this? The main intent to acquire warehouses, is to complement SRRT so that it is able to cater to its customers' demand. To its customers' demand. That is, like mentioned just now, their demand for integrated and storage solution. Integrated transport and storage solution. Who provides the transport? SRRT will provide the transport. Who provides the storage? Transport is provided by SRRT. Okay. And storage is provided by whom? SRW will provide the storage. So that means what we are looking at is a synergy rationale. A synergy rationale that is the objective of the company for all acquisitions. For all acquisitions. Okay. By 2013, the market share of SRW is just 10%, and the market growth is at 13%. Okay. The market share is indicative of the limited opportunities of growth due to the scarcity of land, and not only the scarcity of land and the high cost of land. in Milan. And the high cost of land in Milan, right? So that is why it's not letting it grow. Despite this, the business unit is considered to be a star and is more profitable than the cash cow, being SRRT. Okay, is considered to be a star and is more profitable than the cash cow, being the SRRT, right? From the company's perspective, from the perspective of SRG, SRW may be a gem in its portfolio. So what do you think about the future of SRW? Is there a future for SRW? The minute we say it's a gem, it better have a future. If you say it doesn't have a future, you want to divest it, then you're going to kill SRRT also there. Because both SRT and SRW have got synergy benefits. Okay. Right, so the future significance of SRG for number 2, this being what? Right, the future of SRW in SRT. What do we think about the future of this? Right, it will still play a crucial role. It will still play a crucial role due to the growth in sales and the need for transport and storage of goods. It will still play a crucial role, right or not? Okay. The only concern that we have is the limited land that is available for expansion will prohibit the growth of SRW. Okay, but there is an opportunity somewhere that we have seen. Where's that opportunity? To reduce the consequences of this limitation, the innovation of SRR could help benefit SRW. What was the innovation of SRR? The development of the mini containers. The development of the mini containers by SRR will help the usage of floor space more efficiently for SRW, and this would allow SRW to increase its payload without adding any more floor space. Okay. With this added value in SR, with this added value in SRW. Okay, it will continue to be an important business unit to SRG in the future. This one too very easy, not difficult. Now comes the third one. What is the third one? Your Stewart Rome rail. Did you read about Stewart Rome rail? Yes, sir? Very good. Okay. Right. So if you've already read about Stewart Rome rail, then we can go into that assessment of that business unit. Okay. You can go into the assessment of the business unit. So this is business unit number 3. And what is that business unit number 3? SRR. Stewart Rome Rail. Okay. So what is our finding about Stewart Rome Rail? What's our finding about Stewart Rome Rail? Anything? When was it acquired? Was acquired in 2010. Was acquired in 2010. In 2010, and was formerly called FDRC. Okay, FDRC. Who initiated the acquisition? The acquisition was initiated by the founder of Stewart Rome Group, Sir John Stewart, or John, okay, Sir John Watt, who realized that rail network will be a complement to road network, to road transport. He also believed that rail transport would enable the reduction of emission and congestion that was common in road transport. So that is why he went and bought this thing, isn't it? Right now. But what he didn't realize is FDRC was not a successful business. FDRC was not a successful business, and it was struggling. It was struggling to survive. In its own sector. It was struggling to survive in its own sector, right? The FDRC then becoming SRR was involved in the transport of coal, iron ore and oil. We were transporting coal, iron ore and oil right now. Okay. These are products. These are products that are not within the capability of SRG. Okay. SRG group of companies. SRG group of companies are known for the transport of food, of consumer food and drinks, of consumer food and drinks. We are not in this particular business known as iron ore, right? To ensure that SRR, the ex-FDRC, can become more successful, can be successful, managers from SRG group of companies were assigned to SRR. So if we are talking about managers who are coming from SRG group, that means they are coming from where? They are either coming from SRT or they are coming from SRW, right or not? Okay, these managers of SRR was just 4%. Despite growth in the market of 26%. This low market share in a high market growth is classified as a question mark. With the future being uncertain. The performance of the company, the performance of SRR was plagued with weaknesses. As follows. Okay, what were the weaknesses that we had? Number one, you bought the company. What did you buy? You only buy the locomotives and the rolling stock. The acquisition of FDRC, then becoming SRR, was only for the locomotives and the rolling stocks. That means the wagon, the coaches and all that, right or not? Okay. The infrastructure, the tracks, was owned by the government. And the usage of the tracks was controlled and monitored by the government. And SRR was directly charged for the usage of the tracks. Okay, when the roads in Milan was free of tolls. So that means which one is cheaper? To run the trains or to run the track? Sorry, to run the tracks. To run the train or to run the trucks? Running the truck is cheaper, right or not? Besides, there was a failure to recognize. There was a failure to recognize the complexity of train engineering compared to training truck drivers. Okay. Besides, there is also no conclusive evidence that trains would be an appropriate choice for the transport of food and drinks to the large supermarkets that are not in proximity to the tracks. So that means if you use the train, you also need to use trucks, isn't it? Right or not? Okay. Right. So having said that, do you think there's any future or not? What do you think is the future? We already bought it, isn't it? Right or not? Okay. The mini container system seems to be good. So here we're going to look at the future of SRR. So what is the future of SRR? SRG has to decide. SRG has to decide to either double the investment or do nothing. Do nothing means divest SRR. So you have to decide whether do you want to double your investment or do nothing. First of all, we look at there are some strengths. There are some strengths in SRR that can be used to complement other business units in SRG. So what are the strengths you think? Next, there is also opportunity. There are also possible emerging opportunity. There's also possible emerging opportunity for SRR. So what I want you to think about is, what is the strength that I'm talking about here? And what could be the opportunity that we are referring to here? Is there any strength or is there any opportunity? The strength that we are talking about is, strength means is existing. Okay. The strength that we are talking about is the development of the mini container system. Of the mini container system that can increase and improve the efficiency of SRW and would also provide a fast and efficient manner to transfer goods from the warehouse to the trucks and the trains. Okay. So this trend can be exploited or can be maximized. In the future. Now, what is the opportunity that we are talking about? The opportunity is there is an interest that is expressed by the large supermarkets to see their goods transported by trains. To see their goods to be transported by trains, as trains have a lower carbon emission compared to trucks, and this will reduce the carbon miles of food and drinks sold by the supermarkets, and will also allow the supermarkets to reduce the carbon emission of their supply chain. Right or not? Because if you do it take by trucks, they have got a higher carbon. Okay. If you take by trains, they have a lower carbon. Right. This can also exploit synergies between trucks and trains using the mini container system. Using the mini container system. Okay. This can also be exploited, synergies between trucks and trains, using the mini container system to transport goods from trains to supermarkets, okay, by the truck. Because why? There's no way the train can deliver, isn't it? So because of this, what are we going to do? Right, we are going to look at how we need to investigate how SRR can add value. How SRR can add value to SRG. Can add value to SRG. Right? So that means, am I going to discontinue anything or nothing? I don't think so. We are going to discontinue anything. Right or not? Okay. Right. Okay. Now that you have done that, then what does that mean is we have finished most of it. Now coming down to the last one. But of course, you need to understand how we came to all these conclusions. Right or not? So you need to read the case. You need to understand the scenario. Right or not? Okay. Then only you can get a grasp on what we are doing. Right or not? Okay. Of course, first look, it will look like we are going to discontinue SRR. But if we discontinue SRR, the strength that the business unit has is going to be wasted. Right or not? So we want to try and exploit. And somewhere in the last paragraph of the case, they also said that the supermarkets are keen to exploit this issue. Right or not? So since they say that the supermarkets are keen to exploit the issue, so we have to look at that as a possible opportunity. Okay. So now that we have done all those things, the next one that we want to look at is something that was never tested. Alright, it's there in all the syllabus, but then it has not come up. It's known as the public sector matrix. So this is used by the public sector government, right or not? Okay. So if they say public sector matrix, you already know it has to be a 2 by 2 matrix. If they say it's a public sector matrix, we know it's going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. So if it's going to be a 2 by 2 matrix, right, so fill it out like this. Right, so there need to be two axes, right, so the first one somewhere around here, and there must be a title for it. So what is going to be the title? The title is the ability of the government to serve effectively. The ability of the government to serve effectively. So the ability of the government to serve effectively, what will happen is there will be two outcomes. Either the government has got high ability to serve, or it has a low ability to serve. Either high inability or low ability. Then when you go on to the other side, okay, then when you go on to the other side, here what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the public demand. Here we're going to talk about the public demand. So here the public demand can be high, or the public demand and willingness to fund. And willingness to fund can be low. Okay. Ability of the government to serve effectively, high and low. Public demand and willingness to fund, high or low. So once we have done that, then what we have here is four different outcomes. First one, at this location we call this a public sector star. We call this the public sector star. Now, why do we call this a public sector star? Is simply because the demand from the public is high and they are willing to fund. The government. The government, on the other hand, has high appetite to serve the service or the product or whatever. Okay, and because there's high public support and there is also high ability of the government to survive, this particular process will continue to survive, will continue to exist. Hence we call it a public sector star. Okay. So let's give it an alphabet so that we can put a question later on. A. The next one that we have is called a golden fleece. Fleece means it's fleecing you, alright, robbing. Okay, it's robbing. A golden fleece. Because what? The demand or the ability of the public to fund is low. That means public don't want that activity. But unfortunately, the government is able to serve the activity, or let's say service. Okay. So this is something that the public doesn't want, but actually the opinion of the public can be divided depending on who you poll. Right now, who you poll. Right. So let's say this particular thing, we call it B. Golden fleece. The next one that we have is called the political hot box. Let's call that C. Political hot box. What is this political hot box? Although the public demand for this service is high, the government's ability to serve the service is low. The government's ability to serve the service is low. Okay. So very often this will be a subject of debate and arguments. Okay. When can we see this happening? During elections. During election time. So that is your political hot box. The next one that we have is called a back drawer issue. A back drawer issue. Now what is this back drawer issue? There is no public demand or the ability to fund. The government too is not able to serve. So the best thing to do is to discontinue. To discontinue the service. Not a vital issue. So if it's not a vital issue, where do you put? You put it at the back of the drawer. So hence this is the back of the drawer issue. Okay. So now what do we want? Okay, we want to put some examples there and see how you do it. Okay, we want to put some examples there and see how you are going to look at that. Okay, let's say number one. Alright, we are talking about a country's defense. A country's defense system. Okay. Number two, you are talking about ERP. Okay. Electronic road pricing. Number three, you are talking about national health services. So where would you put all these things? Where would you put country's defense system, right? Besides that, where would you put the electronic road pricing? And besides that, where would you put the national health services? Okay, what would you do? Where would I put ERP? Mila. Golden fleece. But some people, if you ask them, they'll say it's okay, it's good to have ERP, so that there's no congestion and things like that, depending on who you are probing. Alright. National health services, I think I'll put it in C. because there's always, we want more from the national health insurance, but the government can only do so much, right or not? How about country's defense? I think that we will put as A, right or not? To protect the economic growth and things like that, the economic exclusive zones and so forth. Excuse me. Okay. Now, with that, what we have done, this one has never been tested yet. Okay. Because why you never test this, they have to give a very big question on a public sector, right or not? Okay. So we have not got this yet, right? Okay. Then once you have finished that, the next thing that you're going to go into is another big area. Still the strategic choice, but this time you're looking at business strategy. Okay. So first let's break down business strategy. What are we going to find in the business strategy? So what we are going to find in business strategy is, let's call this business strategies. Right. The first one is the easier model known as Porter's competitive advantages, also called Porter's generic strategies. Porter's generic strategies. Then the next one is going to be known as the Bowman strategic clock. The Bowman strategic clock, and we need another one, right? This time to talk about collaboration as a business strategy. Okay. So now you want to talk about Porter's generic strategies. You got two main strategies. One is low cost leadership. Then you have differentiation. And focus. Yes, what is that? Low cost leadership, differentiation and focus. If you are going to Bowman strategic clock, this strategic clock has 8 routes. Has 8 routes or routes. Out of the 8 routes that we have, okay, route 1 to 5 are possible strategies. But route number 6 to 7, or rather 8, are impossible strategies, or even can call it failure strategies. So 1 to 5 we can accept, we can do. Okay, 6, 7 and 8, they are failure strategies. Okay, so that is as far as Bowman is concerned. When you talk about collaboration, some of this we have talked about before. We can do collaboration with suppliers, we can do collaboration with customers, and we can also do collaboration with rivals, and we called it competition. Do you remember that? Milton plant. We called it competition. Call that competition, right? So these are the strategies that we are going to have, right? So today what we are going to do is we are going to go into Porter's generic strategies first, right? Okay, Porter's generic strategies, right? So under Porter's generic strategies, we only have 2. Actually, if you look at your notes on page number 64, you should be excuse me. So let's start with Porter's generic strategies. So we can see it in your notes. Let's go to your notes. Page 61. So there you go. Basically, there's only two main strategies. Basically, there's only two main strategies. Either you have a low-cost leadership or you have differentiation. Okay, it's just that when it is applied to a narrow market or is it applied to a wide market. If it's applied to a narrow market, then we use the word focused. So focus means what? Not a broad market, but a niche market, right? Like for example, when you looked at Boatland, Boatland makes what? River and canal boats. They make river and canal boats. This can be a niche market. Okay, so they use what? Maybe a focus differentiation, right or not? But on the other hand, you can also have broad markets. But normally when it is broader, we don't use the word broad. So when I say low cost leadership, automatically we understand it's broad. If I say differentiated, then it's also broad. If we want to tell you there's a narrow market, we will use the word focus, right or not? So if it is not mentioned anything, if it's just said low cost leadership, then it is low cost, right or not? Okay. Now, what is this low cost strategy? What are these low cost strategy? Let's talk about low cost strategy, right? So let's talk about one side, low cost leadership, and on the other side, differentiation. So you talk about low cost leadership, right? So what companies here try to do is, all right, every company will attempt to become the lowest cost producer. But you must understand, in English, lowest cost producer means there can only be one player. So it's impossible for us to say that we are the lowest cost company, because what? People will probe you, right or not? So most of the companies here are known as low cost companies. But all these low cost companies, what do they want to do? They will definitely want to become the lowest cost player, right or not? So if you look at all the low cost airline, they don't call themselves the lowest cost airline, isn't it? What do they call themselves? Low cost airline. So in a low cost airline, in English, if you call yourself low cost company, what is the problem here? If you call themselves low cost companies, that means there can be many players. But these players, in their own strategy, will try to become what? The lowest cost producer, right or not? Now, why do we want to become the lowest cost producer? Not to reduce prices. Okay, we want to become the lowest cost producer, not to reduce price. We don't want to sell things cheap, right or not? Okay, not to reduce the price, but to improve the margin. But improve the margins, selling at market price. Then some people say, what happens if low cost players reduce price? Why do they want to reduce price for? Right or not? Okay, so if there's a long weekend, will all the low cost airline reduce their price? No, what? Everybody will increase their price only, isn't it? So when everybody increases the prices, we will also increase. So what will that do? If your cost is lower, when the market price goes up, will you make a profit or not? Yes, right or not? Okay. Now, the customers that we are selling to, Customers are price sensitive. Customers are price sensitive and they only buy basic product. They only buy basic product and they don't appreciate any differentiation. And they don't appreciate any differentiation. Right or not? Competition in this segment can be high. Competition is high as all players are selling similar products at similar prices. They are all selling similar products in similar prices. Any competitive advantage attained by one player will quickly be copied. Because why? If you are a low cost player, you come up with an advantage that reduce your cost, I will copy you immediately. Because why? This is basically focused on the reduction of cost. This is basically looking at the reduction of cost. Okay. Now focus is always to reduce cost. So when there are any threats, the low cost players must constantly find ways and methods to reduce their costs. So if you're Scoot or any other low cost airline, you must find ways on how you can keep reducing your costs. What happens if you are a differentiated company? A differentiated company will attempt to create a perception that the products of the company is different than that of its rivals. They'll try to create a perception. You know what's the meaning of perception, isn't it? Alright, they'll try to create an opinion to make you believe that the product is different. Okay? If this perception is accepted by customer, then it's good. The company can then charge premium prices for their products. We did once a case study like this. I don't know whether you remember or not. This is Noble Pets, the moist food. The cooking of the moist food was a similar recipe as the rivals, but because their marketing was very effective, were they able to sell it at higher prices or not? Yes. So that is the perception. But the dog can't come and tell you the food is not good, isn't it? Right or not? So you see the marketing, you get the perception that this is better. Then immediately they charge you a premium price. Right or not? Okay. Here we don't worry, because why? Any cost increase will be borne by whom? Will be borne by the customer. We will transfer it to the customer. But in low cost sector, cost increase cannot be transferred to customers because they will switch to other companies, to other sellers or to other players. So that means who seem to have a higher bargaining power? The customers seem to have a higher bargaining power. The low cost customers. Right or not? Okay. They also have a high bargaining power. Here, cost is increased to the customer. This can also lead to brand loyalty. This can also lead to brand loyalty. Now, brand loyalty is not good. Every time you get brand loyalty, then what happens? The bargaining power. The bargaining power of the company will reduce, or rather bargaining power of the firm or the seller will increase. Automatically your bargaining power drops. Okay. So you use a focus strategy. What does that mean? You're selling to a smaller market, right? You're selling to a smaller market, right? So you can continue to read this. The next one, we are looking at a more complicated model known as the Bowman strategic clock, right? Bowman strategic clock, there are 8 hands, right or not? Okay. So what you see here is value. What you see here is value. So value can be high or value can be low. Okay. The next one that you have to see there will be price. Okay. So price can be low or price can be high. Okay. So from root 1 to root 5 we can accept. 6, 7 and 8 will be called failure strategies. Failure strategies. Okay. Root 7 and 6, 7 and 8 will be called failure strategies. Okay. So what we can do is we can continue with this particular note, right? So go down further, you'll see a table, right? So when you look at root number 1, so when you look at root number 1, this is the lowest price, lowest value, right? So this is likely to be segment specific, all right, where there is no frill. No frill means what? No extras. There's no extra. So what product are you selling? You're selling a commodity item. You're selling a commodity item, basic item. Okay. Then what happens is in root 2 your value will increase. Why will your value increase? From lowest becomes lower, price also goes up a bit. There will be some improvement in quality, but prices are still generally low. So here you need to be an effective cost player. That means you must have economies of scale or you must have volume advantage. Or you must have volume advantage. Root number 3, what happens is value suddenly becomes high but price is still kept low. This is known as a hybrid approach, a mixed approach where we try to combine some form of low cost to keep prices low but then to initiate some differentiation to improve the brand value. Okay, so this is going to be quite a difficult strategy because why? You have to keep your costs low. So to keep your costs low, you must have economies of scale. You must have volume. And then you do differentiation to attract customers. To attract customers. Okay. Then we go on to root number 4, right? So root 1, they already told you, likely to be segment specific. So you can also say root 1 is niche, root 2 is broad. Route 4, you go for higher value, higher price. So this is also broad, but here what you're doing is you're doing a bit of a differentiation. This is to signal brand difference, and higher value and price can be launched with price premium or without price premium. What is price premium? Higher price. When do I use price premium? When there are no rivals. When do I do without price premium? When there are rivals. Then we go into route number 5. Route number 5, highest value, highest price. Again, segment specific, niche market. So this is also going to be differentiated. Okay. So now we have got 5 routes. Let's talk about the 5 routes. This is whose clock? Bowman's strategic clock. Bowman's strategic clock, right? So if you're going to use route 1, that means this is focused, low cost. This is a market that requires no frills, and it is a very small segment. Right? Then if we use route 2, route 2 is going to be broad, low cost. Okay, so here you're looking at a wider market segment. Then route 3. Route 3 is a hybrid strategy. Hybrid strategy where there will be elements of low cost and differentiation. There will be elements of low cost and differentiation. Then route 4. Then route 4 is going to be differentiation. So this differentiation we can do 2 ways. One is with price premium and or without price premium. So when can we sell at a high price? When there are no rivals. When should we sell without price premium? That means at the market price when there are rivals. Then route 5. Then route 5 becomes focused differentiation. We are targeting a niche segment, and for this niche segment we can sell at high prices. We can sell at high prices, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can. They are all valid strategies. Okay, what are the failure strategies? Let's go back to your notes. The failure strategies are going to be 6, 7 and 8. Because why? The value is low. The value is low but the price is high. Okay, the value is low but the price is high. High margins are possible but could also be the result of inefficiencies. You can lose the market share if rivals don't follow. So we don't use this. Number 7, lower price, lower value, higher price, only possible in monopoly sector. You don't get monopoly sectors in your exam, right? Route 8, lowest value, high price. This is a total failure strategy because this has now become a cowboy brand to shoot you down right now. So 6, 7 and 8 cannot work right now. So we'll never use 6, 7 and 8. Okay. Now there's a small exercise for you, right? On the next page, read the first scenario, first 3 scenarios, and then tell me what is the route number. You can choose anything from route number 1 up till route number 8. Read and then say whether it's route 1 or route 8 or route 2 or route 5 or route 6 or 7, whatever. Okay, the first one. The company is facing challenges in the current sector. The costs are high and the market share is low and does not gain any benefits of the scale. To compensate, the product are priced on a high base. Customers perceive that the value of the product does not match the price. It is overpriced. Due to this, the sales of the company is continuing to decline. The survival is impossible and is being considered to divest the business unit. Right. So this one looks like what? Does it look like a successful product or a failure product? Failure. So what route do you think you should put this in? 6 is not that bad. Competitors follow means you can still survive, right? This one looks like number 8. Total failure. Total failure strategy, right? Then number 2, The company is the largest manufacturer of cars in the country and is excellent to produce cars at a low cost base. And the quality of that is a budget vehicle. The company is now attempting to enter Singapore, where the car industry is very competitive with many established brands in intense rivalry. So what you want to do is, if you want to come into Singapore, you want to look at where there are loose bricks. That means where the entrance barrier is low. If you choose segment number 2, you got low cost manufacturers there. So the best way to enter this market will be to look at route number 1, where there are no car sellers and you sell your product as being cheap and cheerful. Okay, still got chance to recover. Number 3, there are some airline companies, despite being called low-cost players, are in fact adding on services to attract passengers from other low-cost airlines to fly with them. For instance, some may be contemplating to provide cold towels on a hot day without any extra charge. So what is happening? The value is going up, so this can be broad route number 2. What is number 2? Low cost. Okay, right, then try the others. Okay, so 3 more to go. Okay, now the next one. Due to the excellence of culture and dynamism of manufacturing, Japanese cars in European countries were further improved to reflect differentiation and at the same time to keep costs low. So the minute you see 2 of this, you definitely know this is route number 3. What strategy is that? A hybrid strategy, right? Because hybrid needs to have 2 elements, differentiation as well as low cost. Some colleges are providing more than essential service to ACCA students. In some markets, such as recorded lessons for students who missed their class, online support and many others. This was not available previously. This is to attract more students to the perceived value and sustain a higher market share to earn profit. So this is what now? This is going to be route 4. But route 4, you have to say further. Is it with premium or without premium? This is actually without premium. Because why? They want to attract students, get a larger market share, isn't it? Right or not? So they're not looking at price premium. Some ACCA providers are even considering providing specific service for each of the big 4 players, classes customized to their work schedule. So no need to say a lot some more. This is going to be route number 5, niche. Isn't it? Okay. So if you got all this correct, then what going to happen is you're ready to go back to the question. Okay. So now what I want you to do is go look at a question. Question is back to SRG. Question is back to SRG. I think it's on page number 114. Okay. This will be question 2. Yeah, question number 2. A business analysis student or a business analysis research student has suggested that Stewart Rome Road Transport, SRRT, pursue a hybrid strategy of offering a price lower than competitors. Okay, as suggested that Stewart Rome Road Transport pursues a hybrid strategy of offering a price lower than its competitors while simultaneously attempting to achieve differentiation. Okay, right? Price lower than its competitors, so we have to reduce our cost, but at the same time you must have differentiation. Required, discuss how both elements of this route to competitive advantage might be achieved by Stewart Rome Road Transport. Okay, so you can forget about the slides that they want. So first think about the technicalities first. Can we do this or we cannot do this? Okay, so now what you have to do is, okay, so let's go to the slide. Right, this is to come up with a proposal to reposition SRRT to route number 3. Proposal to reposition SRRT to route number 3, right, so that they can have low prices and differentiation. So this would mean that SRRT will have to reduce its freight cost and offer its differentiation to customers. And offer differentiation to customers. Okay, so for that, first what you need to do is you need to say what is the current position of SRRT. What is the current position of SRRT? I would say the current position of SRRT is route number 4. Differentiation without increased prices.
How you tell about the prices? How you tell the prices not increase?
Because in the case they never told us anything about the pricing, isn't it? Right or not? So without increased prices, right? So that is going to be a guess actually, right or not? Okay, without increased prices, but the price could be higher than that of rivals. Because we are using differentiation, they are not using differentiation. Right? Now, how is, we are not going into the new position yet, we are still in the current position. How is SRRT able to differentiate itself? So how is SRRT able to differentiate itself now? Number one, it has become the largest transport company in Milan. It's also the market leader in transport of food and drinks in a low market growth sector. What does a low market growth sector means? This would mean that there are not many new customers in the sector, and SRRT already has captured all the major haulage contracts. Okay, they already captured all the major haulage contracts. Right, Anand. Okay. Besides that, it is also the most recognized brand in the sector, and is a household name, which means awareness of brand is high. Awareness of the brand is high. Okay, right. It also, SRRT also invest in itself by changing its fleet every 3 years to ensure reliability and project the right image. Besides that, what else does it have? Okay. Beside, it also has synergies with SRW to provide the much demanded integrated transport, storage, the integrated transport and storage solution. Its revenue, its market share is at how many percent you calculated just now? Okay. It has the highest revenue in the sector, but the market growth is low at just 2.5%. Hence, the chances of market share increase with new customers is low. So what do we want to do then? We want to go into the new position. What is the new position? You want to reposition SRRT. So we want to do what? We want to reposition SRRT to a low price yet differentiated strategy. So this in Bowman is route number 3. Okay, so what do we want to do? So there's nothing to do in terms of differentiation. SRRT is already a differentiated company. Hence, the differentiation will be sustained. But the prices of services will be reduced to match other rivals, or we can go lower than rival. Or even lower than rivals. So now what happens? These lower prices of SRRT will be seen as a bargain by the customers of rivals and will switch over to SRRT for what is seen as value for money. Is seen as a bargain by the customers on rivals, and they will switch over to SRRT for what they see is value for money. What is value for money? Low prices, yet better services. So will people keep quiet, or will they switch over? They will switch over. Okay. In this manner, the market share of SRRT is increasing despite the general decline of the sector. So now what will happen to competitors? Competitors will be desperate. Will be desperate to respond to SRRT, but may not be able to reduce their prices any further due to cost. Okay. They may not be able to reduce their prices any further due to costs. Okay. With eroding profits, revenue, and market shares in a declining sector, some rivals may exit the market. Some rivals will exit the market. Because one, should they lose market share in a low market growth, they become dogs. Remember dogs? Right or not? They become dogs, and the only thing to do with dogs is they can divest. Okay. With the assumption that rivals exit the market, and after a period of locking customers to the differentiated services, SRRT will reposition itself to route 4. We'll go back to route 4. Just now remember we are in route 4, right? We came to route 3 just because the business student said, is this possible? Will reposition itself to route 4 now, presumably to charge premium prices. Now presumably to charge premium prices. And since customers are locked, the bailout rate can be low. There are also not many custom players that you want to go forward, right or not? Okay. If this is done, SRRT can defend its cash cow position. So from a theoretical perspective, we have not applied this in the real world as far as this question is concerned. From a theoretical perspective, the proposed opinion of the business analyst may seem feasible. Okay, may seem feasible. Okay. So that was a good question, SRT, right or not? Okay, so you want to go and look at that again, right or not? Okay, we did the repositioning, but like I said, you need to be able to go into the case and look at the case also, right or not? Okay, right. Next one, what else do we have? Right, we have to say something about competition, but before we do that, we'll take a break. After, when you come back from the break, we will look at competition. Okay. Let's take a break.
How you feeling to travel world? Chocolate service. How quiet? She's generally very quiet. Just that tough. All complaints to get yours. From her. Of all people. Then I'm like, which parent? Up and down, which kid? But the one. Then I'm like, huh? 这个乖乖的 of all things complain about me not giving her transport service.
When the kid tell the parent it's not it's mindless it's not fully
Yeah,
it's just fully
yeah. Then you keep back as well.
it's not fully
Yeah,
it's just fully
yeah. Then you keep back as well. Huh? Yeah, because other people do it. So that's it. Then see that wrong, I remember she keeps on level wrong. Keeps on level wrong. Oh, okay.
Have you guys put the exam yet? For June, is it? Yeah. I always wait until like the last half day.
Yeah, I should wait until March. Yeah.
Oh, you're doing March?
No, I wait until the March exam. March exam period. Yeah.
Usually you have until like April, like 2 months before, then the last day of the semester.
Yeah.
So like for the March exam, January the 30th was the last day.
Yeah.
So this one.
Actually, no problem with COVID.
Yeah, because they send the emails I saw, I was like, I don't know. No, last time got early bird discount, now don't have already. Last time got early bird. Last time
Oh, I was hoping to go for that.
Quite cheaper.
Hoping to go for early bird. Then I was thinking, I should check out for early bird.
But let's say if you want a specific exam center, then you must go early. Because I think let's say HarbourFront got some exam centers.
Oh.
Then my colleague always want to go there, but then I always fully.
SPL is got specific center. How without base right now. Why? No point.
India's confident in his class. Confidence in his class? Yeah. Oh, like I don't understand everything.
It's very airy-fairy, I feel.
Huh?
Very airy-fairy. Like sometimes just like, okay, you should apply this instead of apply that. That's like you're saying, okay, this is route 3 and not route 4. Okay, pick one. Like route 1, route 2, the exercise.
This one I cannot get the chance, I'll just do my own work, at least I'm being productive.
I was like, how do you know which one to apply? It's very airy-fairy. So I think during exam I confirm identify more finish with, or I will forget.
Are you guys just doing this one this round?
Yeah.
Mathematics and advanced stats.
More kill.
I'm doing this one January, I think SPR.
SPR. Yeah, I'm already dying.
Yeah.
But it's very, very bad. I can't do it.
Because me and the other girl came from this class.
Yeah. Oh, I see ya.
It's a good class now, it's very good. It's just that he's very fast.
Yeah.
And then his work is like then I have to rewatch and re-understand, then I don't understand.
But yeah, in class is it?
Yeah, but he always do online class.
Oh.
So then I don't go with the online class one, I just do the lectures.
Yeah.
Yeah, to understand, but I cannot understand anything. Like, he's very fast.
But how about your
It's very bad. Because I did my degree. And my degree is during COVID, so I cheat a lot. So I don't remember anything but that's
Off records, okay?
they don't need to know, it's okay. This one's funny, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, yeah, the mic is...
Actually, I listened to last week's session, I could hear you and see or something.
I was joking.
Oh my gosh.
No, actually, during COVID, the exams are all open.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, it's not cheating at all.
Yeah,
No,
it's just okay.
no, it's not cheating.
Use open book exam and Google is.
Yeah,
This
because
stop because
But also you have exemption for
wow.
That's the reason we stop.
Yeah, but I'm quite struggling with both, especially SPR. SPR is very tough.
Oh, FBR as well. I don't know how I pass.
Wow, I'm
I
really,
don't know
really
how I
happy
pass.
now.
I really don't know how I pass.
I'm not trying to do the best, I'm just trying to pass. Because it's very
I thought I learned Roy. Then wow, I regret. Cause Roy every lesson he will nag. He nag at people for not studying.
Oh, I need him to school me.
He spent 1 minute nagging at people not to study. Oh, whoever never study, whoever never touched the book. Blah 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 blah.
That's me, you good for me.
I regret the class. But yeah, I did pass.
But I see how they keep up to me.
I did pass. Advanced audit.
Actually, not okay. I see. I think only until like the last few lessons, and then we can really start to do the whole question.
Yeah.
Before that, we do all the business combination. And then like the group, what the business machine.
Yeah.
Also, for now, I'm just trying to small.
SDR is the small one. You will, no, but it's like the entire financial thing. So it's like you start off piecemeal.
Okay, top. That's
MRS 1, 2, 3. Then you can start counting.
Oh, really? Okay. Because tomorrow the homework is due. But I read the question, right? I was like, I don't even understand what you're asking me to do.
First question.
What's the intangible?
It's intangible. And how did you work? Yeah, it's all intangible. And I was like, okay, now.
Oh, intangible, the six category.
Because
No,
I just told it last the last round.
Usually the six. The six.
Mine is 6.
38.
The 8 is the six.
Intangible, yeah.
The six criteria.
7.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Then, oh, yeah, I understand that this one is others. This one is research and development. Then this one is group. I don't even know if this one is group view. Then I'm like just highlighting everything, seeing if everything is clear.
Yeah.
But it's due tomorrow and I'm not even written anything. But can
Just write down.
just write something. Even if I fail, at
You
least
just
I
apply
can
the
do it.
6.
I only got 2 months now.
I am trying to apply the 6. Then I look again, I'm like, I don't even know what this means to this. So I have to rewatch the lecture tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do the work.
Yeah. Then I feel like the hardest part is education. What is that?
Yeah, this one is still slightly better.
Yeah. At times, yeah.
It's just a lot of writing.
What? I don't know, I think like, what I get natural design.
The ACC is like what? Is that you have to use Excel, is it?
Yes,
Is
sir.
this your first exam?
Yeah.
Oh, you got exempted all the way lah. So you
Yeah.
have SDR.
Wow.
Yeah, thank God.
No, then you must go and get what I
I need to do the physics module also, right?
Yeah,
The
familiarize
visualize
yourself with the CD,
the
the
CBE, the CBA, like this. Can I just start where you can demo?
Oh,
all
okay.
things like,
No, you can do all the specimen papers.
yeah.
Okay.
So that one quite important.
And that
Don't wait until the
smaller,
day
right?
before then you work. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
So the idea is
Open.
gosh. We went blue screen on me last week. So in the ACCA website, right?
Yeah.
I think I just type this CBE exam and then like whatever it is, there's this thing called the login to practice platform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
correct. Then after you log in, right, it will bring you to this. They call it VUE or something like that. Then you can assign yourself all the different. Sometimes you assign yourself with all the different modules. Okay, let's say for SBR, right? SBR there's like UK version. We're doing an international version. So then you open up. Then these are all the past exams.
Wow, then they update it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
then you assign yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you can do the question. So the question will look exactly like how it will be. Not really exactly, but there will be some slight interface difference and colors. But then
Okay.
generally this
It's
is
about the same,
Yeah,
huh?
this is how your exam will be like.
Then how do you submit the answer?
The answer, okay, so for this one, right, you have to submit and self-mark. So one good thing, right, is let's say if you really have no idea what you're doing, then you don't want to spend too much time looking at the question. You can just end the exam. So you go to the navigator, go to the last question. Okay. Then you end the exam. Yeah. Once you end the exam,
Yeah.
you can submit your exam. Then after that,
They just mark you, right?
they won't mark for you.
Oh.
Then you go to this tab, the mark tab. Yeah. So once you go into the mark tab, right? Okay. Let's say AFM, obviously. So you press the self mark, and then you'll be able to see the answer at the side. Yeah. So
I have to mark myself.
yeah,
I
you
need
mark
to.
yourself. But then what I'm trying to say is, let's say if you really have no idea what you're doing in the class, right, you won't be able to spend 3 hours or 8 hours to do the questions. So
Yeah.
just submit one, then
The other just go to some part.
then go and look at the answer.
Okay.
That's one way. Or another way is of course, I think Mr. Samuel is already got me the answer.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
My one by commerce that.
And you can reassign the same test over and over again, so you don't worry about submitting the empty exam paper.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm actually quite worried.
Yeah, but you must really because my previous degree I didn't do text, so my first exam was text, like the T exam. Then like only 1 week before exam I know it's a computer based exam. Then I was like what? Then I 1 week before I was like scrambling to see how it actually works.
Actually, the text exam was quite hard. Yeah, TX. Because I remember I tried to cheat also. It was very hard to cheat. It's very hard. Open book also. But was it okay for you?
For ACC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, ACC. Yeah.
So how come you guys doing ACC though?
To build my diploma. And get some exemptions for this stuff. Because my degree, there are some like SDR. If I don't take it, the reason because I didn't do tax before, so I don't have like exemption.
Okay. What taxes is that?
I think SDR was the one. No.
What have you?
They don't have the reciprocal. Yeah, I think by 2019 was converted, but they don't anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, you still have that. What do you look as? What do you look as?
I actually just graduated. Then my mom wanted me to try because there's only 4 papers left. So I was like, okay, it's quite smart, then I just finish now. So yeah. But besides that, I'm just studying the system.
But you are hardworking.
I'm helping my mom on the belly. It's just like some social media stuff which she don't know how to do.
Because if you work right, the idea is you got more.
You expand a bit more. Because he said it's better for like part-time people know more, like understand better because you guys are already in the world. So then you really understand like why this thing works this way sometimes.
This is about rehash about was really fun.
Really tough.
Remember the when what strategic was
I never like to do like easy calculation.
I think one thing is just that I get to type on. I don't have to write so much.
Success, you can stop working. Wait, let me show us talking. Very clearly on. You can hear us talking very clearly on.
What?
Are you okay?
No, I've been having this thing for the past 3 weeks. It's not COVID. I did all
You are not recovering from COVID.
all the swab tests, all the tests, everything done already. But many people I know are having this
Like coughing syndrome.
coughing and flu and not recovering for at least 3 to 4 weeks now.
Maybe
I just
another
recovered.
virus.
Huh?
I just recovered.
You just recovered. Oh, any secret?
I just don't know.
I tried everything already. The worst part is while you are talking, it comes.
Yeah. You can choke up.
You can't really. Okay. So, so under the collaboration, right? So we have looked at 1, 2, 3. We have looked at the 8 roots. Now we are going into the collaboration. Under the collaboration, the most important thing will be to talk about competition. Right? Competition, which can suggest recommendation to problem. You can suggest this as recommendation. Can suggest this as recommendation to any problems that you may see, right? Now this competition is nothing new, alright. According to some documentation, it was initiated. It was initiated in 1996. Was initiated in 1996, but however then it was not prevalent, because at that point of time I think when you talk about competitors collaborating, it was a taboo. It was not something that was well accepted. But however now the concept is gaining momentum. Is gaining momentum, at least on the international front, right? So this is actually collaboration of competitors. So when we talk about collaboration of competitors, there are three questions that comes out, right? First question is, will competition erode the competitive advantages? Will it erode the competitive advantages of companies? Well, if you think it's going to erode the competitive advantage of your company, then obviously you won't do collaboration with rivals, isn't it? Right? Leave some space, obviously, because the next one is, if there is no competition, what do you think will happen? What would happen? Let's say we choose not to participate in competition. Okay, if we decide not to participate in competition, what would happen? Okay, right? And with competition, what is the outcome? So these are the three questions that we ask in order to understand competition a little bit better, right? So for the first question, will competition erode the competitive advantage of company? Basically, no. There is no loss to companies' competitive advantages. Okay. An example of this again will be Noble Pets when they vertically disintegrated their moist food. They handed it over to the competitor to cook it for them. Did they lose any advantage? No. Right enough. So basically there's no loss to the competitive advantages. The advantages that we get is we share resources. We can collaborate on new developments, such as developing a market or a product jointly. Okay, I think for this you are quite familiar with the concept of JV. What is JV? Joint ventures, right? Yes or no? So this is something that we have been doing right now. So when you go into a joint venture, you are not going to lose your competitive advantage, right now. Okay. And this is also an option that we do not reinvent the mill. You do not reinvent the mill. That means if somebody has got a better way of doing it, you just go with them, right or not. You don't reinvent the wheel. And by sharing, you can also get, sharing will also lead to scale advantages. Okay, you can think about commoditization to reduce supply costs. So that is also a kind of collaboration, isn't it? If there is no competition, what would happen? If one company decides to ignore competition, other companies may take the advantage. Right? If you decide not to take on competition, you ignore it, other companies will take the advantage, right or not? Okay, so the synergies. So the synergies benefits of those companies will not be realized by others. Okay, and this will make the collaborators of competitors stronger. Competitors stronger than other rivals. Because why? You never joined anybody, right? So you're going to be weaker. Okay, stronger than rivals. Now, what is the competition outcome? So for this, we looked at a case study between Samsung and Apple. Okay, between Samsung and Apple, right? What did Samsung do? Samsung supplies OLED screens to Apple. Okay, OLED screens to Apple that it also uses on its own devices. On its own device. Okay, so now what happens is we take Samsung into a myopic sense. In a myopic sense, that means narrow-mindedness. If Samsung does not offer the OLED screens to Apple, if they don't offer the OLED screens to Apple, it would be perceived that Samsung has an advantage over Apple. Okay, has an advantage over Apple. But Apple is not going to keep quiet. What would Apple do? Apple then could reach to LG. Okay, Apple then could reach to LG for the OLED screens, for the supply, of screens, right? The volume of business from Apple would be important to LG. Okay, and Apple will share product enhancement knowledge with LG, making LG now a competitor to Samsung. Yes or no? So in all circumstances, what is better? To avoid such disadvantage in the market, it makes more sense. For Samsung to collaborate with Apple. So if they collaborate with Apple, now what happens? This will bring a win-win proposition to all. Okay. So this was actually from an article on Harvard Business Review, right or not? So that is condensed. Okay. It runs into several pages, but the gist of the matter is that, right or not? If you don't collaborate, what can happen? Okay, right, now that we have done that, okay, we move into the last section of this particular thing known as strategic choice. Right, what's the last one? The last one is going to be growth and direction methods. Okay, I hope you still remember, right, when I did strategic choice. Okay, when I did strategic choice, I actually divided it into three. What are the three? One is corporate strategy, the other one is business strategy, and the third one is growth and direction method. Do you remember that? So we have finished corporate, we have finished business. Now what we want to do is we are going to go into the third one, right? So still under strategic choice, but we are looking at growth and direction methods. Growth and direction methods. So if you want to look at growth and direction methods, there are two main things, right? There are two main items to look at. So under GDM, growth, direction methods, the first one is going to be product and market. Okay, the first one is going to be product and market. Product and market based growth. So if you're going to do product and market based growth, then you have to use a matrix known as the Ansoff matrix. Ansoff matrix have come up in the exam, but the only thing is they never test it as the matrix itself. Okay. The other one is going to be the alternative methods of growth. The alternative methods of growth. Okay. So if we look at Ansoff matrix, which is a very nice matrix, not very difficult. If we look at Ansoff matrix, we have got different types of development. One is known as market penetration, right? Then the other one is known as market development. Then the third one is called product development. And the last one is known as diversification. Diversification. Okay. Now if you look at alternative methods of growth, these alternative methods of growth, we have three methods actually. The first one is going to be growth using your own competence, that is called organic growth. Organic growth, or you can grow through acquisitions, which is what we have been seeing all this while. SRR buys this, right or not? Okay, MMI buys this. Everything is through acquisitions, and the next one is through joint development. Joint development. But when you look at joint development, it's a little bit more interesting because there are many ways of doing joint development. How can we do joint development? The first way of doing joint development is through loose networks. Loose networks. Loose networks. Besides loose networks, we can also have other methods that is known as contractual joint development, or ownership based joint development. Ownership based joint development. Okay, so these are the methods of growth that you are going to have. Okay, so today we are going to look at the first one called the Ansoff matrix. Okay, So if we are ready, we can go on to the ends of matrix. Ends of matrix, or we can call this product market based growth. Product market based growth. Next to BCG, this is the next easiest model, huh? Right or not? Okay, so let's look at this ends of matrix. Right, how do we come up with the ends of matrix? Again, it's going to be a 2 times 2 matrix. So this 2 times 2 matrix needs axis. Right. So the first one is going to be on the product axis, where if this is going to be based on the product, right, this can be either an existing product or a new product. Existing product or a new product. Or a new product. Then the next one is going to be on the market. Where this can either be an existing market or a new market. Existing market or a new market. Right, so as usual, where the rows, where the things intersect, what you're going to have is you're going to have different kinds of outcomes. So in this place, where the market is existing and the product is existing, we call this a protect and build strategy. Protect and build. So protect and build means existing market and existing product. Existing market and existing product. Right. So in this existing market and existing product, the strategies that we use is first to do market penetration. To do market penetration, then we do consolidation, and then finally you do the withdrawal. You do the withdrawal, right? So what is this market penetration? Market penetration means to sell more of the existing product to the existing market. More of the existing product to the existing market. Consolidation could mean to downsize products. To downsize products. And withdrawal means to discontinue products. To discontinue products and markets. But most of the time, we always look at penetration and withdrawals. Okay. So some products that are withdrawn from certain markets doesn't mean they end their life there. They can go into the next one, that is called this area. This is known as market development. What is this market development? This market development is existing product or new market, if we are following the top, new market and existing product. Okay, new market and existing product. So here what we can try to do is we can try an export strategy or an ethnocentric strategy. An ethnocentric strategy. So what is this export strategy or an ethnocentric strategy? This is to sell product as is in home market to another market overseas. This is to sell as is. Another way that we can do this is we can also try to target. We can try to target a segment that was not targeted previously. So in the same home market, you can try to target another segment. We can try skimming strategies. What is a skimming strategy? You first sell a product at a high price to one segment. After that, you cut the price and sell to the next lower segment. You're skimming. Alright, skimming strategies. Or we can also try new distribution channels. We can also try new distribution channels where we can try to sell using e-commerce or website based sales. Because why? Websites can go overseas immediately, isn't it? Okay. Website based sale. Right. So here we can try export strategy. We can try to do skimming strategies, or we can also try to sell it on the website. Website based sale, right? So this is called protect and build. This is known as market development, right? Then on the other side, what we have is product development. So what is this product development? This is to provide the existing market with new product. Existing market with new products. So also known as NPD, new product development. Also known as NPD. Now why do we need to come up with new products? This is to renew the revenue stream. The revenue stream of the company. So customers will buy again. Will buy again because they perceive it as an improved product. Like iPhone, every time come up with new models, people keep buying. Then you go back home, you have got a museum of iPhones at home, right or not? Okay. Same thing with all other brands. We keep buying, right or not? Okay. So for this, they deliberately make products to have short life cycles. To have short life cycles. Right? And after making the product have short life cycles, they make buying a new product cheaper than repairing. They make buying a new product cheaper than repairing the product, right or not? Okay. Now this is also because of technology innovation. Technology innovation, right, where they make old products obsolete. And also because we want to escape certain risk. Especially what kind of risk? Innovation risk and demand risk. Innovation risk means the product is seen to be old, like Nokia long time ago, right or not? Okay. After that it was killed in the market, isn't it? Because of innovation risk that leads to a demand risk. Okay. So that is product development. Okay. Now the last one that we have is diversification. This diversification is unrelated. Why do we say that this is unrelated? Because it looks at new product and new market. Okay, according to ANSOF itself, alright, this is considered to be high risk. Considered to be high risk and should be avoided. Should be avoided. But some companies don't do it, isn't it? Okay. Some companies, they go on with it. Like the company that we saw in our case, MMI, they actually did a kind of unrelated diversification. Right? Okay. So now, you can also go and look at this in your notes. Okay. But the matrix is not there. Right, but the table is there, right? What can you do and so forth, right? So if you want to sell more of the products in existing market, you need to change the infrequent purchase behavior, come up on sales promotion, and also reflect other ways to use the product, right or not? Okay, a product can be used in many different ways. So what are the other ways to use the product? Besides that, you want to increase this market, you can also try to attract competitors' customers into buying your product, but this is not really encouraged. Because why? When you do this, this can also create hyper competition. It can also create hyper competition, too much of competition. Because if you try to attract your competitors' customers, then competitors will attract your customers. Or focus on non-users, right or not? What is non-users? These people are not using your product yet. Okay. You can try to get them to use your product, right or not? Okay. So that goes on into many different ways now. Okay. So for market development, new geographical market, identify market not selected before, alright, or identify new distribution channel like website. Product development, we have already told you. Diversification, right? You cancel off related. Okay, it is only for unrelated. Because why? Both are new. Right or not? Both are new. This is similar to our discussion that we did on product and market diversity. Right? Then I've given you more details on that, which you can read. But now what we want to do is we want to go and look for a question. I've uploaded a question on the portal. Right? Where is that question? The question is called Vision PLC. Okay. Vision PLC. It's already on the portal. Okay, on our canvas, you can download that, right? Okay, but for now, just let's go and look at the question. Right. So required, using ANSOF matrix, persuade to the board how some of the options of growth pursued above may not resolve. May not resolve the profit gap. May not resolve the profit gap using ANSOF strategy. And where, if any, there could be benefit of this model to Vision PLC. So that means this company has come up with several measures. So we want to know which one is going to resolve the problem and which one is not going to resolve the problem. Okay. So to start off, Vision PLC is a reputable manufacturer of a specialist range of optical and photographic equipment. Okay. Now, anything out of this will be an unrelated diversification. Anything out of this will be an unrelated diversification. At present, the marketing activities are confined to the home market in Blinkland. Okay, are confined to the home market in Blinkland. That means there is no internationalization yet. There is no internationalization strategy yet. Now, Vision PLC manufactures a range of products in its 3 divisions. So that means these are the current products. Current products and current markets. These are their current products and current markets. The first one is the astronomy division. This division will have telescopic equipment which are sold via mail order. Mail order to private individuals. So I will interpret this as a very narrow market. With narrow market, with low opportunities, with low chances of repeat purchase. Some people will then ask, why is there low chances of repeat purchases? So the question now goes out, would you be buying telescopic equipment every year? You don't even buy sometimes, isn't it? And if you buy also, you're not going to repeat buying this. Alright, and you're sending the mail order to the same individuals every time. Right? So this is not going to help us in our market development. The medical division manufactures microscope and associated equipments that are sold to hospitals and schools within Blinkland. Alright, so there are only so many schools and hospitals. And again, this is not a product of frequent repeat purchase. There are only so many schools and hospitals. Okay, this also we are not going to buy very often. Then we have the outdoor pursuit division. Manufactures a range of cameras and binoculars. Manufactures a range of cameras and binoculars, again sold to private individuals using mail order. Again, this is a very limited market. Limited market reach. Now, the following became effective in December 2019, right? So this could be some of the new products and some of the new markets that they have gone in. This can be some of the new products and some of the new markets that they have gone in. The company created a new division. The company created a new division called Oceanic Division, which manufactures cameras suitable for underwater use. They are sold to clubs and societies that engage scuba diving. Now, question is, were we in this kind of a market before? No. So this is going to be what? A new market. Did we have underwater cameras before? No. This is going to be a new product. So if this is a new product and new market, this is going to be what? A diversification. Yes or no? Okay. Next one is we purchase sound and vision. We purchase sound and vision, a chain of camera shops comprising 30 retail outlets within Blinkland. Right? So this one is you bought a shop. That means this is a kind of a vertical integration. Vertical integration, backward or forward? Forward. Because what shops means? They are related to whom? They are related to customer activities. Yes or no?
Buying over by your retailers.
You're buying over your retailer. Retailers all customer related activities, isn't it? Right. So this should enable you to get a better reach to your customers. Then the company purchased Rackets Limited, a well-established manufacturer of tennis, squash, badminton rackets. Alright, this is totally an unrelated diversification. So the only reason why you could have bought this could be because of a portfolio manager rationale. What's a portfolio manager rationale? Maybe you saw there were profits there. Maybe you saw some kind of profits. A new camera known as BirdCam V or BirdCam 5, whatever you want to call it, was launched. The camera will allow bird watching to take place at night, irrespective of prevailing noise and weather condition. The camera has special filtering capabilities. So if you're going to Jurong Bird Park, would you buy this camera? No. Because why?
Not open at night.
One is not open at night. Number two, is this a very specific niche market or not? Yes. Okay. This is a niche product. Right or not? Niche product maybe for specialists. Now the other problem with this is it will only have a lifespan of 3 years, and they are going to be sold at $670, and you estimate to sell 85,000 units of this camera per annum. Okay. Now, is there such a big market for this? Right or not? Okay. So, however, currently the board has received a warning of a profit gap. Okay. So they got a profit gap. That means they are not making the profit that they wanted to. So when you have a profit gap, what you need to do? You have to close the profit gap, right or not? So how would the ENSOF strategy help in closing the profit gap, right? So that's what we need to do. Okay. You want to go through the question, the case one more time? Okay. Look at the current markets. Astronomy division, the medical division, the outdoor pursuit division, and the following became effective: oceanic division, sound and vision, buying of rackets, and BirdCam. Right, so if you are ready, then what we can do is we can go to the Vision PLC. So currently Vision PLC has received a profit gap warning. Hence, the growth in the products and markets can be instrumental to close the gap. To close the gap. Hence, the ends of matrix is used. So the ends of matrix has got 4 different strategies, right? So let's look at the 4 different strategies one by one. The first one is to look at the market penetration strategy. Okay. Now, what is the market penetration strategy? The market penetration strategy is to allow the company to sell more of its existing products to the existing markets. Okay. More of the existing products to the existing markets. So here we have 2 different or 3 different divisions. So we're going to lump up the astronomy and the outdoor pursuit. Astronomy and outdoor pursuit division. The next one, we are also going to bring in the medical division. Okay, right. So what does the astronomy division sell and what does the outdoor division sell? The astronomy division sells telescopic equipments. Telescopic equipment to whom? To private customers. To private individual customers using mail order services. The outdoor pursuit division sells cameras and binoculars using the same approach, that is mail order to private customers. Okay, mail order to private customers, right? It is very unlikely that customers on the private mail list will buy frequently. Telescopic nor cameras or binoculars. Okay, it is very unlikely that customers are going to buy frequently telescopic nor cameras or binoculars at an interval that is expected by vision. They are not going to buy it very often, right? The channels used does not extend the reach of the products of vision to a larger market. to a larger market to increase sales. Okay. It is very unlikely that market penetration for these products will be able to close the profit gaps of the company. Right. Next one, the medical division. What can we say about the medical division? The medical division will manufacture and sells microscopes and other medical equipment. Microscopes and other medical equipment. However, the sales is limited to schools and hospitals within Blinkland. As I mentioned above or just now, there are only so many schools and hospitals in Blinkland, and the nature of the product will not encourage frequent purchases. Okay, and the nature of the product will not encourage frequent purchases, right? Hence, market penetration would also not be relevant for this product. So will they be able to narrow the gap? They also cannot narrow the gap, right? So the next one that we have to look at is, can we go into market development? What is this market development? For market development, we are going to look at, right, this is to sell existing products to new markets or markets that were not previously targeted. Right. So who do you think will benefit from this? Let's look at medical division. After that, you look at astronomy and outdoor pursuits. So under medical division, what can we say? Right? The microscopes and other medical equipments are built to international standards. Equipment, they are built to international standards. right, and could be used in many countries as a result of the standardization. So then what can we do, right? These products of the medical division can be exported to other markets that are similar to Blinkland. That are similar to Blinkland. So that means what are we doing? We are using an ethno-centric strategy. If you ask me to change the product, I won't sell, because why? Changing the product, will it increase the cost or not? Yes. Okay. So we don't want to change that, right? Okay. Similar to Blinkland, so that the products can be sold as is in Blinkland to other markets. Right? This will increase the volume. This will increase the volume and allow cost savings, and at the same time will add another stream of revenue for Blinkland, for Vision. Right. So it is likely that the added revenue could help in the profit gap management. At least this is better than doing your market penetration, isn't it? Okay, market penetration is not going to help. Okay, market penetration is not going to help. Okay, right. Next one is astronomy and outdoor pursuit. Right. These divisions can use, what did they buy? Sound and vision. This division can use the sound and vision chain of camera shops. There are 30 stores across. There are 30 stores across Blinkland. Okay, there are 30 stores across Blinkland. Placing the products of astronomy and outdoor pursuits in these camera shops can allow reach to a wider customer market. Okay. This will also allow the reach to a segment that was not targeted that was not targeted previously. That was not targeted previously. Okay. Seeing the product on the shelves, seeing the products on the shelves of the shops can trigger some impulse purchases that would increase revenue and help resolve the profit gap. So that means which one is going to help? Market penetration is going to help? No. You have to do market development. How to do market development? We have used the chain because the chain will provide a new distribution channel, isn't it? Right or not? So we don't have to depend too much on the mail. Okay. The camera shops will be a new distribution channel.
You are tapping on the within the sentence.
Oh, sorry. That's why we have this there. Right? What was I going to say? Okay. This camera shops will create a new channel compared to the mail order. But do we abandon the mail order? No. We keep the mail order, but must we also try other ways to reach the product? No. Yes. For medical division, do we stop selling in Blinkland? No. We still sell, but then what we need to do is to see whether we can sell to other markets also or not. Okay. Right. Then next one. Right. What is the next one that we have? The creation of oceanic division. The creation of the oceanic division. Right. Now, how do we look at the creation of the oceanic division? This is a new product in a new market. This is a new product in a new market. The division will manufacture and sell underwater cameras to the scuba diving clubs. They are going to sell the camera